Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. Two short videos, one for section A for Monday and one for section B. First of all, thank you again. It was great to see you all in on Thursday's lesson. Apologies that I was speaking at a million miles an hour because I wanted to get everything in as much as I could. And there's loads of things, especially for question 5, which I didn't do. So it's so important you watch the question 5 video as well. This will not be that long. It won't be as long as the one for paper 1. Can I point your attention, which I didn't get a chance to yesterday, at the back of the booklet that I gave you? So at the back of the booklet I gave you, you've got this nice handy thing which takes you through paper 2, question 4, and what to do as you're working your way around. So revise that, read through. It's at the back of the booklet I gave you. If you've lost the booklet or you're away, it's also on Show My Homework. The other one which is there, you can see, so you've got a guide to answering question 4 with the same thing, with example answers based upon Everest versus London. And you also have another question 4 example at the back, Everest and London, and the question 2 one as well, with a couple of example answers which are on the slides. So on Show My Homework is this PowerPoint of those example answers, some past papers. Right. Slideshow. Let me just turn my emails off. You are all now in your biology exam, I think. You're almost done. Really proud of you. Not long until the best summer of your life. Best, longest summer of your life. This is a little recap. I ignore the minute thing a tiny bit. But just a reminder of what skills they are asking. And what I said is, with the language paper 2, I would answer the question 5 one first if you are worried about time. If you find that you run out of time sometimes, spend 45 minutes answering the question 5 one and then move to section A. 2 extracts, 1 hour. Do first, I know, ignore the PowerPoint. What we talked about is, I would just box off. So for question 2, read question 2, and you're looking for the focus of the question. And on the margin, like we did in class, right, at the top, maybe left-hand side of the margin, right, Q2, and what the focus is, the thing you're looking for similarities and differences for your inference question. So it might be Q2, children's activities. For question 3, read question 3, work out, it's going to be how does the writer use language to describe, and then the specific focus of the question. And then find the example, because it's not reprinted as in paper 1 question 2 where it's a little box above. So you need to find it and you need to box it off. And I would just write in the margin the focus of the question, the words that come after describe, just so you're aware as you're reading through for the first time. Then on the other side of the margin, so maybe left side for question 2, right side for question 4, read question 4, the big juicy one, 16 marks, and write down the TFIs that Q4 asks you to look for. TFIs, thoughts, feelings, ideas, or opinions. And they will say perspectives, but in terms of the example we looked at before, and it's at the back of your book, different perspectives of the extreme weather conditions. So you might write Q4, extreme weather conditions. Now, that's a neat example of what it looks like. But ignore boxing off question 1. So you can see question 2, left-hand side. Question 4, right-hand side. By doing it, it makes it so much easier to plan. This is almost your plan. Answer question 1 before reading both extracts. I would. Just get in, get out. So for question 1, just read question 1, work out what you're looking for, just read that specific section. So you haven't got anything else worried about them. You can just focus on getting those marks. Remember to shade in the boxes correctly. If you make a mistake, do a cross through them, and then to make it quite obvious, but make sure you're shading the boxes. Right, then, and remember I timed all of you reading the other day, and everybody read that extract within about 7 minutes and 15 seconds, both extracts. You've got enough time to read them both twice. So you've got enough time to read them both twice for question 2. Sorry, read them both before answering question 2 and again before question 4. So with question 2, then read the question 2 question again. Because one of the skills of question 2 is you'll need to find the information. In most cases, it's in different paragraphs and things like that you're looking for, the summary and the inference question, the chubby paperboy question. So then read both extracts. And as you're reading through, highlight. So in terms of this question 2 was summary of the different ways people are affected by the weather. So as you're going through, highlight, right, or make a note of, that's how people are affected there, and that's how people. In terms of this one, it is the chubby paperboy question. It is not a language question. Do not write about the effects of words. It is not a language question. Okay, so it's the chubby paperboy question versus the poor chimney sweep. You can see this almost like a formula you can use. So summary of source A with quotes. This suggests the inferences where you get the most marks, so make sure you get as many inferences as possible. Then switch using the connective to summary of source B. Same process, but in source B, you refer back to source A. I know it's a picture, but you can pause it just to see the example, and you can see an example of the kind of style, what your answer is going to sound like. So pause it and read those 3 boxes. Same thing on the other side. Pause it and read those 3 boxes and notice those phrases like unlike in. Right, there is the apps. Now, we have read this. You can read it again. You've got it in your booklets. You've got it at home. So in terms of there, you've got in terms of the question 2. You've got the example answers. You can have a read through. Notice the yellow is the textual details, and where is the green is where you get the marks, where you get the inferences. So the idea there where it says the 3 Indian climbers are stranded, exhausted with their oxygen supplies running out. That's good. But which suggests that the weather had taken them by surprise because they are obviously not prepared for the storm. And I encourage you at the end of it, maybe do, and look what the blue thing is, like a little mini conclusion where you do the main differences or similarities between the two. If the question asks for similarities or differences, you can write about similarities or differences. If it asks for similarities and you found a difference, you can do that. Okay. Here's an example, 8 out of 8. So please pause it. Please read it. My concerns for you. You'll be great at this question. It's only 8 marks. Get in and get out. 10 minutes max. Pick 2 or 3 things you can write about that you found and summarize what the features are. And that one is how different people are affected by the weather and almost what it suggests, what you can imply from that. Connectives, switch to source B, same process, but refer back. Okay, and try and do a little comparison sentence at the end. In the past, I've called it statement, quote, inference, SQI. But look at the example answers I've given you in your pack. Right, question 3, language question, absolute gift. It's the same as question 2 on paper 1, where you'll pick juicy phrases and you are saying why those words are really good. Similes, metaphors, alliteration, personification, verbs, all those kind of things. But it's 12 marks, so you can spend longer. So where I used to say question 2 was 2 juicy P West paragraphs, point, evidence, effect, word, effect, subject, terminology. With this one, you want 3 juicy, why those words are really good at getting across the focus of the question. Because it's non-fiction as well, there may be a wider range of techniques. Don't forget imagery. If you get lost, anything paints a picture in your brain, the writer is using imagery to describe the image and why it's effective in terms of the focus of the question. But also things like humor, facts, hyperbole, which is extravagant exaggeration, irony, those kind of things may be features as well. But it's always why those words are good at answering the focus of the question and zoom in on those words. You're brilliant at that one. You don't want to spend more than 15 minutes on it though. Okay? Now, on this, you can pause it, but remind on tips on that. You're getting the marks for the quality of your writing about the effect of the writer's choice of language. For level 3, you've got to make sure you contextualize, and I mean that you link whatever you are analyzing back to the text and also basically back to the focus of the question. Think same as the labyrinth one with the mountain area, those people who wrote about the flowers peeping in terms of the flowers, but you weren't referring to the actual question. So make sure you are saying why those words are good at describing the focus of the question. For level 4 perceptive, often it's about writing 2, 3 more sentences, or having a pattern of quotes, taking a holistic approach and saying why a selection of verbs, violent verbs maybe, are good to show the power of the storm or the power of whatever. Okay? So, for example, whipped into the camp, like the example. You can pause these and you can see the differences, and please pause and look at the differences. Make sure you're writing at least 3 nice paragraphs for that. Okay? 3 juicy neon POS paragraphs. Right. Final tips, question 3. Get in and get out, 50 minutes max. 3 big juicy neon codes to squeeze. Make sure your effect is relevant to the focus of the question. ST, subject terminology, is not key. So if you're not sure on the class, then just write the word lashing is effective because. It's the quality of the effect that gets you the mark. Okay? Remember, you are writing what the images and ideas the words create. The writer uses imagery to describe. Question 4, most important question, section 8, 16 marks, about 20 minutes. With this one, it's a TFI question. What is the writer's viewpoint? Okay. Now, this little technique and way of doing it, it's promised you it's worked, and it's worked for everyone in the past in the stressful exam environment. Forgot to say, before answering question 3, obviously, read through that box again and pick through your juicy quotes. Right, before question 4, this is the question to prove. So that one, the TFI is extreme weather conditions, and you have to compare, so they're different perspectives. By perspectives, viewpoints, thoughts, feelings, ideas on the extreme weather conditions. The bullet point 3 is you need references, you need your quotes, your neon things you've already highlighted. We won't have highlighted them yet, actually. And then you compare the method, so you say why those words are good at getting across the TFI. So you're comparing the TFIs, but you can also compare the methods, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. What you want to do is read again both texts. You've got enough time. So read again both texts. I would have a different color highlighter for question 4. And as you're reading through, you're looking for juicy words and phrases which are telling you things about what the writer is thinking, feeling, imagining, or what ideas they have. And periodically, as you did with paper 1 question 4, write in the margin on the other side, so right or left-hand side, but make sure you've got a nice clear side for question 4, a couple of words which summarize, right, what their thoughts, feelings, and ideas are. If you get across a paragraph and there's nothing there, don't panic. Okay, sometimes they're not expecting you to write about every single paragraph. So it might, but you want to get at least 3 TFIs in the margin with corresponding highlights for this question for both sources. Now you could look like something like this. So I've wrote question 4 TFI, and I didn't put extreme weather, and I should have done. But you can see there, the start, it is like living in a freezer. And then I thought, well, what's that saying? Well, it's saying the weather's always extreme. And then when it says fixed hair to the spot, that's giving me the impression that the extreme weather, that they are shocked and they are sudden. And then I could carry on through and make sure you've got at least 3 of these kind of things from across the source. And this almost becomes your plan. Now you do the same for the rest of source A and source B. And that's sort of your plan. And you're almost ready then to write. And if you've annotated your text properly during your your second reading, your notes you made in the right-hand side of your margin make this an easy question to plan. Okay? It says there, create a table, and I did that 2 years ago, but I don't even think you need to create a table anymore because you've got them in the margin. So you've got a choice, really, between whether you want to do it this first way. So let's say my first one. Now, I've turned shocked and sudden into a full sentence. You would not do that in an actual exam, okay? But I've just done it because I did this in terms of a lesson to make it clear. So you've got those three things. So with this one, I could do the TFI first in source A. At the beginning, the writer feels shocked by the sudden arrival of the storm. Get the quotes in, say why those words are good at getting across that they are shocked by the sudden arrival of the storm. However, in source B, the snow has arrived peacefully. Get the quotes in, say why those words are good. Okay? And then I could switch onto that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Or you could just do a big, long, fat paragraph on source A, where you got TFI, quotes, effect, TFI 2, quotes, effect, TFI 3, quotes, effect. Source B, same process, but make sure when you're writing about source B, you are comparing back to source A. You're comparing the TFIs, but you can also compare anything. You can compare languages. And notice with it, any language techniques. You can compare the idea. You might find that they're written using different perspectives. One's first person, one's third person. You can compare the idea of the purpose that they're written for. So like one of them might be a modern text in terms of a news article to entertain, where the older text might be a letter as some kind of letter to someone, as some kind of court report or witness statement, so it's got more formal language. You can compare anything. But look at that example there. Once you've got your TFIs in your margin, you're ready to start writing. You just need to make that decision going, I'm going to do a big fat one on A and a big fat one on B, or I'm going to switch between the two. Make sure you've got 3 TFIs for both sources. So there's an example on the next slide. And you've got this at the back of that, and it's really handy, and I've made it as clear as possible. Feels shocked by the sudden arrival of the storm. Snow has arrived peacefully. So you're going to have to pause this. Please pause it. Notice the color codes and look at the answer. And notice the big fat blue thing. You need to identify what the TFIs are and the method. Why those words are good at getting across the TFI. You must pause. You must read. Same process for B. Exactly the same. Okay. You must pause. You must read. And notice the red. Those comparative phrases where you are then comparing back to source A. Pause and read. Right. So you can either do 6 paragraphs, switching between the two texts, or 2 great big paragraphs, as I said. But you must remember to write about 3 TFIs from both sources and how the writer has communicated these, the method. You must remember to compare. Right. Why don't you have a go at the other past paper I've put on? Give yourself an hour or longer just to have a go at that question. Go through the process. You please watch the other question 5 video.